What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Pete's Carport. Happy New Year's to all you guys, and I want to thank you for all your support last year, and I look forward to this channel just exploding this year. And I'm going to start it off with an absolute bang, a car that I've wanted to do a review walk around on, and what better way to start the year than to do it on the car of my dreams that is now part of the channel, and that is this r129. This one happens to be a 1991 500 SL. And yes, I said 500 SL because it started its life as the 500 SL and went to the SL 500 still during the r129 dynasty. And I say dynasty because this car had an extremely long run. It launched in 1990 and went all the way to 2000, basically with minor changes. Had a couple facelifts, had a transmission change from a 4-speed to a 5-speed, and then eventually in its latest years had a slight engine change out. So this one happens to be the 5-liter version. They also had diesel versions, they had a V6 version that kind of changed throughout the years as well. So we're going to focus this walk around, this review on this car, specifically mine, and talk about some of the issues, some of the things that I've done already, and then talk about specific features of the r129 that made it so crazy when it came out and made people just kind of flip over what was going to be going on with the evolution of cars, because this kind of jump started the modern style Mercedes. So let's get right into it. So as you can see walking around, if you've seen any of the other videos, I did a quick walk around of this car when I first picked it up, and I said I would do a much longer in extent video of all the issues, all the things that we're going to cover on this car, and kind of the things that make this car unique. So that is this video. So as you can see, the paint is absolutely amazing on this car, apart from this back panel here, so the trunk. So the trunk had this funky little antenna here, and I'll kind of chime the video in of me taking that off. And as you can see, up underneath there, even after I moved all the residue, it seems it was on there for quite some time, and it was covering up kind of a little nasty mark here. Now the rest of the hood got oxidized over the years, and from my guess, this car has been repainted, and possibly the trunk just didn't get as heavy of a clear coat on it, or something had gotten on there, possibly too much polishing or something. But I already went ahead and tested a spot here. I don't know if you guys can see that, and I think I can bring this back to life, or we're going to do a black wrap just on that trunk. Xavier did it on his hood. Sorry about that wind. We've got kind of a windy day today. I'm going to do my best to kind of keep the wind noise down. I'll stop the video and start it back up every time that the wind kind of gusts through. But let's keep on going. So Xavier had wrapped his S500 with that black vinyl and matched absolutely perfectly. So I think I'm going to do that if I can't get this paint to come back to life. So the next thing, if you saw those videos in the past, you're going to notice how low this rear wheel is. So let me go ahead and chime you guys in on exactly what was going on. So you can see somebody had placed some, I guess they're kind of like spacers into the springs. And my guess was it was because I had to change out the drive shaft support. And I think the drive shaft was slapping up and down, and the owner figured, let me go ahead and raise this up to prevent some of that from happening. And that is the only thing I can figure out of why they would have raised it up, because the stance on this car, in my opinion, looks absolutely awesome. It does not rub. And they even had a couple of them in the front here, but in my opinion, this front can come down a little bit. And if you know anything about these cars, they have little rubber spacers in the springs. This one has a pretty thick one, so I'm probably going to remove that and see if that gets me the height that I want. So kind of moving on here, you'll see it's got these add-on spoilers here and spoiler here. I like those, but they are a little faded, so I probably will remove those and give them a nice paint and a nice clear coat gloss on there. You'll see this badge. This will probably be coming off. I'm not a huge fan of trying to say you have an AMG when obviously this car is not an AMG version. And then coming along here, This I do like, and I like that the paint is done very well. It matches the car very well, and I believe they even had to paint this lower panel here. It just seems like these were two-toned during these years. Obviously, let me know in the comments if that's not right, but I believe this whole car was repainted, and it was repainted very well. Coming along here, we've got these AMG badges here that I actually do like. They were placed very nicely, they're stuck on very nicely, and I think that they fit the style of the car. I know it's kind of faking the AMG thing, but I love the way that those little chrome accents match the rims. So, moving on to the front, we've got clear headlights, and then we've got this painted black front grille. I like the black, so what I'm going to do is, you can see here how crappy this paint is, and I thought it was plasti dip at first, so I thought I was going to be able to peel it off, but it's going to have to be removed, sanded down, repainted, and clear coated. And not a big deal, I don't mind doing that. And you'll see the wipers was one of the features on this car as well. And then let's take a look at the rims. I really do like the way that these rims look on this car, but as you get closer, you'll see there's a lot of pitting. So one of the ideas I had was to keep the lip, because every one of the rims have perfect around the lip, which is kind of odd because I expected to be you know, curved a few here and there, but they're all four are really nice. So what my idea was is to kind of tape that off and maybe do a gloss or flat black center here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that, or where I should go with the rims. If you hate them, you love them, what you guys think. Also about the height, whether you like that or you would go higher, lower in the front, what you guys think about that. So with all that out of the way, let's jump inside the car, take a look at some of the things that need to be looked at, and then we'll talk about the features specific to the R129. Okay, so let's move into the interior of this car. And I really like the way Mercedes laid this out. I think it looks really, really nice, and I know I can make this car look really good with my own little style. So one of the main things were these cheap plastic panels here that just cracked over time. This is going to be a pretty easy fix. Either I'll order some new ones, or we'll kind of custom build something by taking these off and making templates and remolding something into there. The second thing is you're going to see this carbon fiber wrap along with this. I think it looks good, minus the fact that it is one of the crappiest jobs I've ever seen of somebody trying to wrap a center, and we'll get closer and I'll show you guys that. This I don't mind. I wouldn't even mind this, but I might go with more of a gloss black. I'm not sure yet. We'll kind of look at that as we move forward. The sills on this, really, really nice. You can see how thick they are on this car. And then we'll move on to the seats and then back over to that center console and talk about that. So these seats are really cool. They actually have massage and lumbar, and they work. And also has heated seats in the center console, you'll see there, and those work as well. So that was really cool to find that out when I got in this car. Now these here are a cover, and when I first saw this car listed, I thought that this was the style of the seat, and I was like, man, I don't know if I've ever seen an R129 with that kind of cross-pleated look right here, and I loved it. So when I got in the car, I was like, oh crap, I bet the seats are tore up. They are not perfect, but they're not bad. I mean, honestly, I'm glad he put these on here because it probably restored a lot of that original seat. And I like these. I'm going to keep these, and I'm going to try to mount this one so it stays on better. The one on the driver's side is actually strapped down so it doesn't slide up or down, or you can't pull it off like that. So it's nicely put in there. I will most likely get this one put in properly. Now moving on to the seats here. So you've got a handle here, nice and sturdy handle, and something specific to the R129, which is the strap, the belt here was built into the seat, which was really a new modern thing that Mercedes introduced, and I love it. I think it looks awesome. You start seeing that now in a lot of the SUVs. I think the Suburbans might even have it, or the Tahoe, and I think it's an awesome design that kind of futuristic, made the car look more futuristic and kind of gave it that first modern holy crap look to it. Now let's get in and look at the console here, and you can see they wrapped it in carbon fiber. This was wrapped in carbon fiber, and then we make our way down here, and yeah, they had a cup holder, and I'll kind of clip that in now, that I removed, and I wasn't even sure why they would drill the cup holder right into here, but people do what they want to do for convenience and don't think. So this is going to have to probably be rewrapped, because if you come along here, you'll see terrible wrap job. It's all cut up. This is actually not bad. That might be able to be saved if I decide to go carbon fiber again. I do like the carbon fiber. It's not something I dislike, so I might do that. Also, they put in an aftermarket radio. It's not a high quality brand, but honestly, it sounds awesome. It's got Bluetooth connection. I'll show you guys shortly here the speakers that they installed that are very nice, amplifier and everything. So I'm very happy this has Bluetooth connection. This has a 7-inch screen that opens up and a rear view camera. So a lot of cool things that they added to this car that I think actually helped the car out a little bit and bring it into that modern era. Next, on to some of the cool features of this car, the r129, that made it absolutely amazing. So let's talk about some of these buttons since we're right here. So this button here is going to raise and lower your, well, it has a windshield attached to it, but it's going to be your roll bar. This roll bar was so advanced that if the car sensed that it was going to roll, it would automatically flip up. Let's go ahead and take a look at how it goes up and down real quick. And you can see there's a windscreen attached to the roll bar, and it goes right back down. So pretty cool feature. So these are the aftermarket speakers they installed, and they actually sound really good. The only downside is that they didn't put any trim pieces on the bottom, so I'm gonna probably end up doing that. And one of the other features that's really cool back here on this car is you've got cubby storage, and you can see there's an amp inside there, which is really nice. And you can have storage for shirts and so forth. I got an umbrella and a sweater in there. So really neat that they did add that storage. And I'm going to show you guys why they added that storage. So you can see here, we've got airbags. We got airbags on the driver's side and on the driver's side and on the passenger side. Downside to the passenger side is you lose your glove box. They did try to squeeze in a little bit of storage here, which would have been taken up if you got the cell phone option that I have in my 95 S500, the VIP build we did. I kept that there because I think it's really cool and nostalgic in my other car, but it's nice having a little bit of storage in this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the buttons outside of the adjustable roll bar. We've got this button here, which is pretty unique. It's for snow tires. I believe that's when you have change on your tires and you're driving. It does a different gear ratio for the transmission, is what I kind of got from that. This is really neat. So this is basically a dampening feature that allows you to tighten and stiffen the suspension, which is hydraulic front and rear from the factory, if you got that option. So this was an optional thing from what I know. Once again, chime in if I say anything wrong or if you know anything different. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is really cool. This allows you to adjust this mirror right here. This is something that I had in my 1995 Mercedes S500. They stopped doing this, I believe, after 95 and introduced it, from what I know, in this R129. This does not have the folding mirrors like my S500 has, but really cool that they did that electronic rear view mirror that they decided to eliminate, because a lot of people would grab this and turn it and just basically snap the gears inside, and it was a very expensive fix. Okay, so moving on to where there's other storage, you've got these slide down pieces, which unfortunately haven't really survived that well over the years. And a lot of these cars, these are broken, and you can see this is supposed to slide back and forth. That is broken. The button on the side does work, which allows you to open up a little more cubby storage there. You can see he's got the faceplate, or the faceplate holder for the radio. And you have a little more storage here. Once again, if you got the cell phone option, this would be taken up by the actual phone and receiver device. So you would lose all the storage in that style vehicle. It also has another slider piece that slides down here and covers up, so they kind of meet right here. Next thing is, this came from our vanity mirrors. So you can see here, very common, these plastic things break, and even worse on this side, it's completely gone. Now the downside to that is, this is a convertible, and if you drive with the top off, you have these flipped up like this, And all anybody can see from their standard height cars or SUVs is this really crappy broken piece. Something I want to get fixed right away, and I know I can just do something like a material across there or do something to at least make it look nice for now. Also, you've got broken little pieces along in here, and this is just stuff that Mercedes was known to get brittle on over the years, and they do break specifically here in Florida. All right, so let's move on to our next thing that needs to be done, and you can see here the top is missing the headliner material. So what the gentleman probably did was just painted this because it was probably nasty, all this type of glue. You can see here where it's missing the paint, and it probably just looked absolutely terrible. And the next thing is we have a broken soft top, a very common issue. So this is really the only top we can drive around with. So obviously, quick fix for the last owner, went ahead and painted this. I have some awesome plans to put some really nice material up here, maybe some velour or something diamond stitched, just to kind of finish this off. I prefer the hard top over the soft top, and I'll probably mostly be using the hard top. So let's go ahead and talk about the top, because that was one of the craziest things that this car had. And mine doesn't work. So let's go ahead and look at that now. So I really wanted to show you guys how this car looked with the top off. And it is not a one-man job, and if your hydraulic pump is not working, like mine is leaking, it is a hefty task. I have to basically pop the front using a tool up underneath there, then get into the trunk and get underneath where the hydraulic system is and use a wrench and pop that. Then two pretty strong people, now I've got to give it off to my wife because it was not easy, have to lift this top off and walk back, leaning up against the car almost, trying not to scratch anything along here. And if you've heard the horror stories of people dropping them and scratching them, that has to weigh well over 100 pounds because it is not an easy task. But back to this, I wanted to show you guys how awesome this car looks with the top off, so you can get an idea of why this car was so loved and why I wanted it so badly. So what made this car so unique with the top is you have a soft top that lies right underneath here, and if functioning properly, which mine is not, you would hold down the button right there, that red button, and you would hold it forward. The windows would then come down, the top would open up and reveal this awesome soft top that would come over, snap itself in, and you'd be ready to go in an extremely fast time. And from what I remember, it was the fastest retractable top. In fact, I don't even know who else had a fully automatic top at the time. Almost every manufacturer was still doing manual tops that you had to go and put on, or they did fold down in here and you had to unfold it yourself. So very, very unique. Made this car super cool. People would come and watch that as like a show because no other cars did this. And this car just kind of had that extra flair with the roll bar that rolled up, that soft top. And this was from a time when electronics were not what made a car super cool. It was that 5.0 V8 engine with over 300 horsepower. It was a fully automated top, and it was the Mercedes brand. That is what made this car absolutely shine in its time. And the fact that it was a $90,000 plus car in the early 90s made it so that most people could not afford it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my quick story of my car, the R129, and some of the things that made this car super cool, super unique, and still to this day make people like me and you sought after these vehicles and absolutely love them and keep them on the road. So join me, guys, this year on bringing all those classic Mercedes back to life, keeping these things going, maintained on the road, as well as showing the next generation how awesome these cars can be. I can't wait until I'm in my 80s and 90s and I see one of these things go down the road, and I can remember when I first saw one, when I owned one myself, and I hope to own this car till the day I die because it is absolutely amazing. You guys have an awesome day, an awesome week. I'm Pete. This is Pete's Carport. If you love Mercedes content, please subscribe and please comment below. Thank you.